You don't like my mustache?
It hides your smile.
Looks like the When Calls the Heart Season 12 finale might have set the stage for Charlotte Thornton to make a comeback in Season 13. And now that Season 13 is officially on its way, let's talk about everything we know so far. What's happening, what to expect, and how many of those leftover questions from last season might finally get answered. We have to say, that finale definitely left us fans hanging. We saw Elizabeth, played by Erin Krakow, Nathan, Little Jack, and Allie all leaving Hope Valley together. It was a pretty emotional moment and kind of a big deal, especially since nobody really knows how long they'll be gone or if this is a permanent move. But here's the thing. This surprise departure might actually be the perfect setup for a familiar face to return in Season 13. Let's rewind a bit to earlier in the episode. Elizabeth gets a letter from none other than Charlotte Thornton, played by Brooke Shields. If you're newer to the show, Charlotte is Jack Thornton's mom and Little Jack's grandma. It turns out she's now running a boarding house in Cape Fullerton and mentions a brand new insulin lab that just opened up in the city. The timing of that letter? Super suspicious, and Elizabeth definitely doesn't take it well. She basically reads it as Charlotte implying that she's a bad mom for not dropping everything to move where the best medical care is. Now, Rosemary, being the good friend she is, tries to help Elizabeth calm down. She reassures her that Charlotte probably just wants the best for Little Jack's health, especially since he has diabetes and that's nothing to mess around with. And Elizabeth, being the devoted mom she is, does admit that even though she really doesn't want to leave Hope Valley, she'll do whatever it takes to make sure her son's okay. Things get even more intense when Little Jack doesn't wake up easily one morning, and Elizabeth understandably freaks out. That's when Faith steps in and drops the bomb. The insulin they received wasn't refrigerated properly during delivery, so it's basically useless. They're waiting for a new batch from Toronto, but Elizabeth starts thinking, why wait when there's a whole insulin lab ready to go in Cape Fullerton? Faith is totally on board with that idea. She tells Elizabeth that the lab has tools and resources that just aren't available in Hope Valley yet, like more accurate blood glucose tests that could have caught the problem sooner. So Elizabeth makes the call. She's going to Cape Fullerton. Little Jack asks if they'll be staying there, and she tells him, we'll see, at least for some time. It's a heartbreaking moment, but it shows just how far Elizabeth is willing to go for her son. Now, here comes the big surprise at the end. Nathan and Allie show up and tell Elizabeth they're coming with her. Yup, they're all in this together now. Nathan literally says, where you go, I go. It's kind of a swoon-worthy moment if you've been rooting for them as a couple. They're basically a family now, heading off into this new chapter. And all of that brings us back to Charlotte. Her letter was a clear sign that she's not done with this story just yet. It's been 10 seasons since we last saw her, way back in Season 3. And while there's no official word from Brooke Shields or Hallmark confirming her return, the Season 12 finale definitely laid the groundwork for her to come back. I mean, it just makes sense. If Elizabeth and Little Jack are going to Cape Fullerton, and that's where Charlotte happens to be running a boarding house, it's only a matter of time before we see her pop up again. But that's not the only shakeup happening in Season 13. There's been a major behind-the-scenes change too. On the official Hardee's podcast, executive producer Brian Bird announced that Joy Gregory, who was a writer and executive producer for Season 12, is taking over as showrunner. She's stepping in for Lindsay Sturman, who led the show from Seasons 10 to 12. Brian had nothing but praise for Joy, saying she picked up the world and the vibe of When Calls the Heart really quickly. He basically made it sound like she's a perfect fit for the show's future. And Joy herself confirmed the news on the podcast, saying she feels honored to take the reins and is inspired by the fans' passion for the show. She also shared that what draws her to When Calls the Heart is its focus on flawed people just trying to love each other the best way they can, even when life gets tough. According to her, this is the kind of TV she's always wanted to make. Joy even talked about how gracious Lindsay Sturman was during the transition. Apparently, Lindsay stayed on as co-showrunner for the final episodes of season 12 and was super supportive. She made the handoff smooth and drama-free, which, let's be real, isn't always the case in TV. For context, Lindsay had taken over from John Tinker, the showrunner, during that whole Elizabeth-Lucas-Nathan love triangle drama back in season 8. After Lindsay stepped in, the show shifted direction. Elizabeth and Lucas broke up, and she found her way back to Nathan. According to Lindsay, Elizabeth and Lucas were on different journeys, and while it was sad, it made sense for their characters. She even compared it to something out of Casablanca, where there's love but not a shared future. Now, with all these transitions and emotional arcs happening, it's worth noting that we might be saying goodbye to more than just one or two characters. Besides Elizabeth and her new family heading to Cape Fullerton, 5 characters seem to have exited the series by the end of season 12. One notable departure? Angela Canfield. She just graduated from secondary school and is heading off to college. There's a really sweet moment during her graduation party when Allie gives her a heartfelt poem as a going-away gift. Angela promises to keep in touch, and the two share this emotional back and forth about writing letters and staying close despite the distance. So, yeah, it's safe to say Hope Valley will look a little different when season 13 kicks off. We don't yet have a confirmed list of returning cast members, but there have been some hints. Aaron Krakow, who's basically the face of the show at this point, posted a sweet message on Instagram after the season 12 finale, celebrating the show's renewal and hinting that she's coming back. In case you missed it, When Calls the Heart is a teenager, she wrote, and Kevin McGarry playfully commented, no one told me about this, which kind of seems like a tongue-in-cheek confirmation that he's in too. So, what can we expect from season 13? Well, for starters, we might finally get to revisit some plot points that season 12 left hanging. For one, will Charlotte and Elizabeth work through their tension now that they're in the same town again? Could this new environment give Elizabeth and Nathan a fresh start as a family? And are we going to see Angela again, maybe visiting home during a school break or writing letters that get read on screen? Plus, with Gregory now steering the ship as showrunner, we might get a slightly different tone or storytelling style, maybe more focused on those small emotional beats between characters that fans have always loved. What did you think of the season 12 finale? Do you think Charlotte's coming back in season 13, or was that just a red herring? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.